Wait, you've probably seen the videos all over your FYP, right? A man, a pair of metal glasses, and very many unsuspecting Kenyan women, from the malls of Nairobi to private apartments, B&Bs. Even there's a lady who was recorded in a church. The footage is of a Russian national, and it has sparked a total firestorm on the Kenyan social media. By now, you've seen clips, you've seen the gender wars on X, where the creators like Andrew Kibe or Rikonini have given their takes. Some call it just content, while others call it a total violation of our sisters, mothers, females' dignity. But while everyone is busy arguing over the morality of the victims, they are missing the actual crisis unfolding behind the scenes. In this video, I'll be tackling that. But this isn't just a TikTok gossip anymore. On 17th February, yesterday, the DCI stepped in with a statement that changed everything. Nothing with grave concern, what they call technologically facilitated gender-based violence. The state has officially activated cybercrimes units to trace this man and his digital footprints. I'm not here to repeat the gossip, you already know it. I'm here to show you the legal technicalities keeping this man free. The Ghanaian government has, and with talks with Interpol, and they have invoked a red notice on the man. And somehow this whole thing can create a high-stake diplomatic challenge, because still there are Kenyans stuck in the Russian-Ukraine war, and there are still those issues of why are Kenyans being recruited in the Russia-Ukraine war and being enticed with money. So you can see there's still that hurdle. Okay, I am James Kamu, and this is the Deep Dive Unpacked. But while the internet is busy fighting the gender wars, there's something that they're actually missing: the war that unfolds behind the scenes. Even politicians have come out to talk about this issue. Even you heard Jeffrey Msira talking about it, and they have weighed it in, reflecting the public's demand for accountability from the Russian man. But is it just a viral trend? I'm not here to tell you what happened. You've seen it all. I'm here to show you why this man is still walking free, why the government is walking on eggshells, and how this content creator is actually a symptom of a much bigger crisis between Nairobi and Russia. To understand how serious this is, we have to look at the West. In Ghana, the reaction was swift. The Ghanaian government did not just tweet, they moved to involve Interpol. Their communication minister, Ulsa Owusu Ekfur, made it clear that recording and monetizing somebody without their consent is a crime. Why has the Ghanaian government moved for an Interpol red notice while the Kenyan government remains relatively silent? Is there a reason why our government is hesitant to pull the trigger? In Ghana, the Cybersecurity Act is being used to pursue him in absentia, but in Kenya, our process is different. Now let's address the elephant in the room, the manosphere tech. Creators are using these videos to claim Kenyan women are cheap or starstruck, but is it that simple? No. Enter Alex, the man who posted a video claiming it's a case of mistaken identity. He says he's just a traveler who vlogs, and we have the wrong guy. Is he a decoy, or is it that the internet's mob justice so blind that we have targeted the wrong Russian guy? This confusion is exactly what the DCI is currently navigating. In my view, focusing on the women's morality is a distraction. Even if a woman agrees to a date under the Kenyan law, she hasn't agreed to be used as a commercial product for a Russian Telegram channel. That's where the content ends and the crime begins. The Office of the Data Protection Commissioner is currently at its most aggressive form. They just fined firms millions of money for using photos without consent. So why haven't they fined him? As a law student, I can tell you, a video on TikTok isn't enough evidence yet. Under Section 106B of the Evidence Act, you need a certificate of authenticity. If the DCI can't seize the original Meta glasses, case is built on sand. Think about the case of the Nairobi mask vendor, Boniface Karaoke, who was shot by police Despite the viral video of shooting, the admissibility of that electronic device was a major hurdle in court. Even in cases of life and death, the court still insists on a certificate signed by the person who was in control of the device to prove that the video has not been tampered with. You know, right now there's those hurdle about videos being created using AI. Somebody might come to court and claim the same, and you know that evidence will not be admitted. Did you know that even if you have a video of me killing somebody, that alone is not enough proof to convict me in a Kenyan court? This sounds crazy, but without proving the chain of custody and the integrity of the file, that video is just pixels on a screen. This is why the CS can promise to prosecute on Citizen TV, but the DPP remains silent. They do not have a clean file. There is this viral allegation that the man is HIV positive. Legally, this shifts the case from a privacy breach, Section 26 of the Sexual Offences Act. It carries a 15-year life sentence, but here is the catch. Forcing a medical test violates Article 31, right to privacy, and this causes a constitutional stalemate. Because when you file these cases in court, some judges have actually said that it's unconstitutional to push someone to reveal their status, as that is violating their right to privacy. So it's still a hurdle, and we are yet to tackle it as the legal field. The scandal is happening in Kenya. There is a high-stake negotiation in Moscow. Prime CS Musalia Mudavadi is preparing for a high-stake trip to Moscow. Why? Because over 200 plus Kenyans are trapped in Russia-Ukraine war. Some have already come back in body bags. So you can just imagine the tension between the two countries. Here is the truth. No one wants to say. Kenya is in a hostage situation. If the government arrests and humiliates a Russian national right now, does it sabotage Mudavadi's mission to rescue our brothers from the front lines? We cannot ignore the impact on the victims, from the lady cleaning the apartment to the one met at a church. These women aren't just clips. They are daughters, mothers, whose lives have been disrupted by the viral stigma from the internet. Families are being torn apart over content they never asked to be in. So, is he a vlogger, predator, or a diplomatic headache? He might get away with it, not because he's innocent, but because our laws are too slow and our geopolitics are too fragile. Nairobi cannot become a harvesting ground for any foreigner with a hidden camera. And you know, in law, there are some things you need to understand. You know, you cannot prosecute a national from another country if you have no jurisdiction over him. There are things you need to prove, and that's in relation to public international law. Okay, now as a law student, let me address the big question. How does Kenya actually exercise its power over a Russian national? That's if they catch him and they build a case on him. This is where public international law and the 5 principles of jurisdiction come in. So there is the first principle, the territorial principle. Since the acts happened in Junction Mall, TRM, local BNBs, Kenya has primary right to prosecute because the crime happened in our soil. There is passive personality principle. Because the victims are Kenyan citizens, our government has legal hook to protect its people, even against a foreigner. Then we have the third principle, the protective principle. This will allow Kenya to act because the suspect's conduct threatens public morality and national interest. You can see even from the statement from the DCI, they are terming it as a technologically facilitated gender-based violence. So you can see. Then we have the fourth principle, the nationality principle. This is the tricky part. Russia could not claim the right to deal with him because he's their citizen. And we have the fifth principle, the last one, the universality principle, usually reserved for war crimes, but in a world of global digital exploitation, it's why we see the DCI mention international law enforcement partners. You can see even from the press statement they removed. So when you combine all this with the fact that CS Musalia Mudavadi is heading to Moscow to negotiate about the 200 Kenyans who are trapped in the Russian-Ukraine war, you realize that this isn't just a TikTok case, it's a jurisdictional case. And I can't wait to see how it turns out.